I, Robert Miller, watched a full performance of Encounters on Friday, April 25th, and did not just read or hear about it from a friend. I savored a complete play with no intermission. This response was completed on my own without using anyone else's words and or ideas. My reaction to the show is that it was expressive, progressive, and intricate. Expressive as the show featured a lot of dance, but mainly because of the emotional feelings conveyed through the movements. Progressive for the message about climate change and the inclusion of a variety of languages from Russian to Tagalog, along with the relationship between um, the two assistant choreographers. And lastly, intricate for the carefully choreographed dance numbers with specific actions and movements, not from the main performers, but from the whole ensemble present on stage. I thought the music felt scenic at times, like very natural, but at others it felt more somber and classic, like the music played in some of the video scenes versus the songs like La Vie en Rose and Between These Hands. Overall, I thought the song choices were appropriate, and I think many of the songs evoked feelings and thoughts revolving around each performer's background. The music was a mix of live and pre-recorded music. I think they used both depending on the person in order to emphasize the person's culture and strengths. For instance, they played ballet like music for one scene to focus on the dancing, whilst in the other scenes, such as the song Sticks, I believe there were lyrics in the song from Jamie Papa to draw attention to her as it was her culture song in the play, so like her using her language and whatnot. The movement was more dance like. It was obvious to me that there were elements of ballet and jazz and hip hop. I think they I think they use certain types of movements at different times to articulate different moods, but also to show diversity and emphasize how people come from different places and backgrounds. So depending on who was dancing, the movement style changed to best fit them. One image that I saw in the movement was towards the end with Elizabeth Moser and Neva Kenny, when one danced behind a curtain and the other in front of it, performing the same movements. The repeated movements and the way it was set up were designed so that the audience would picture the past and the present at the same time. I think it was expressed through movement rather than language because it's a reflection, so both aren't in the same moment. Um, I thought that this piece was different from others in the show. I think the curtain was like one big distinguishing part of that. I believe the scene was called Ancestors. I think the piece was about like reflection on the past and that we are all connected to our ancestors. Overall, I think the theme revolved around like reflection on identity and who we are. I think it was communicated mainly by the curtain that separated both of them and that made one seem like she was in the past and the other in the present. I think this piece was different from others as it felt more surreal and the curtain was truly used to convey something. The director was Rogelio Lopez, and the two associate directors were Elizabeth Moser and Neva Kenny. The stage type used was a proscenium stage. I think the casting was good overall. I think everyone fit their roles, and I think that together they worked as a good ensemble with good coordination. I would say it was a very diverse cast with gender inclusion and diversity of race, um, including people of Asian descent, which is an important group underrepresented inside musical theater and theater overall. One specific staging moment was in Sticks when everyone faced forward, breaking the fourth wall. Everyone was arranged inside of a grid column like pattern. However, you were still able to see everyone, and I think what it meant was that like everyone is the same, that everyone's like a person, but we all have like our own individual identity. But at the end of the day, we're all like basically the same. So I think that's kind of the message of that stage picture. One actor was Yulia Kareva, who was in two main songs, Yulia's Choice and The Unfinished Farewell. I think she did a great job using her body in the ballet dance scene, staying light and elegant, captivating the dance and like the core principles of ballet. I think she worked well alongside other actors on stage, coordinating well with them in other parts of the play. I appreciated the ballet scene, which happened, I believe it was scene 8, and I think she was like working to capture the grace and elegance of her character, which was herself. And she used her body in the dancing, clearly trained in ballet techniques. And I thought that that performance was extremely beautiful, and in that moment, an impressive experience, an amazing dance to like watch and see. A second scene that I enjoyed from her was when she read her letter aloud. She used her voice to express what I thought was humor in her native language and appreciation inside of her letter. And I thought it was just genuinely impressive to like see someone speak their own native language. The lighting director, Michael Rathburn, I thought his lighting choices were unique and emphasized moments in the play. At times, the lighting was subtle, at others, it was overt. One specific lighting moment was in the opening scene 1, when the spotlight was focused on the woman in white, who was Wen Van Deer Wendy, creating a literal shine on her and setting the focus of the whole theater. Overall, it created a shine almost star-like with a radiating glow. I think the designer made the specific choice as it was the first scene of the play, so it had to be attention grabbing and impressive. A second lighting moment I recall was when both Moser and Kenny were sitting in the audience with the light centered on the hats. I thought it was like a mysterious attention grabbing and suspenseful choice. I think that the choice was made because the spotlights on the hats really like grabbed attention, and that was kind of like necessary considering that both of them weren't on stage, so they may not have been noticed because they were in the audience. Um, Overall, I think the artists came together to create an interesting, unique show. So I would say they all did hang together. I think they created a world. I wouldn't say they were all in the same one, like same world. I think together they really just created like one atmosphere. I think the artist's overall purpose was to make us feel a sense of reflection on ourselves and others, and also a sense of like surrealism about the past and where we are today. I have to say something I thought about more deeply from watching the play was the fact that everyone has a past and everyone has their own unique identity and experiences. Thank you.